Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Lewis and Clark Community College IGEN Virtual Job Fair event. Today, we will be hearing from 7 presenters. Each presenter will speak for approximately 5 to 10 minutes to give you some information about their company, and will highlight the services they provide or the job openings they currently have. After presentations have concluded, we will then be transitioning into small group discussions with employers. Small group discussions will be held as one continuous 30-minute session, and you will be able to move freely from room to room. Today's session is being recorded and will be made available on the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel for you to refer to later. Now, I am pleased to introduce Dana Nguyen with the Illinois Green Economy Network. Dana?
Hi, everyone. I'm Dana Nguyen. I'm the Business Engagement Manager for our project, Expanding the Solar Workforce, the Illinois Community College System. Today's solar hiring event, the virtual job fair, is meant to help connect students targeted in the Lewis and Clark Youth Build program, but the event is open to the public to connect with job opportunities in the solar industry. And this is an opportunity to introduce you to some of the employers that are engaged with our project and help you guys build some confidence in applying for their positions that they have open that they'll be sharing with us today. Bill, did you have anything to add?
No, thank you, Dana. I wanted to make sure everybody is aware and very conscious that this event is all voluntary. So all the participating members and employers, thank you very much. The idea behind this, as Dana indicated, is to connect career pathways from students, from unemployed public to their dream job. So have fun, ask all the questions you need of the employers and advisory members that are there, learn, and good luck. Thank you for being here.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Dana and Bill. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and jump right into our employer presentations. Our first presenter will be the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. Ellen, are you available to present?
I am.
Fantastic. You can begin whenever you're ready, Ellen.
Great. Thank you. And I want to thank you all for having me here today. I am the Solar Workforce Project Manager for the Midwest Renewable Energy Association. I have been with the MREA for about 3 years, and my job is essentially to connect technical and community college students all over the Midwest with employers. And we operate an internship program, and we have all kinds of exciting things going on in terms of making that happen. Can I have the next slide, please? I want to give you a little history of the MREA. So the MREA was established in 1990. We are a nonprofit educational organization. Our headquarters is in Custer, Wisconsin. We also have an office in Milwaukee, but we offer training all over the Midwest. Our mission is to promote renewable energy, energy efficiency, and sustainable living through education and demonstration. So what does that mean? It means that we offer solar and other types of renewable energy training. Can I have the next slide? We basically now offer training in 3 different formats. So our first format is in-person training, which we do either on our campus in Custer, Wisconsin, or anywhere that we contract with an organization, school, company to provide training. And so we do in-person trainings both on our own campus as well as other locations throughout the Midwest. We do offer an independent study program. So what that means is if somebody or some group is interested in a certain facet of solar training, we can design a curriculum for that and provide that as an independent study. And the word independent doesn't mean that we don't provide instruction. It just means that if we have an interested group or an interested party that needs something outside of our regular curriculum, we can do that. And then we also offer online instructor-led programming. As of about 60 days ago, all of our regular coursework that is possible to be online is now online. So what that means is we have some lab courses that can't be done online, but everything that can be is. And we've provided pre-recorded instruction, but we also offer live Zoom calls with instructors. So they're regularly scheduled, more or less office hours with our instructors. And you can see on the left side of this slide is just a snapshot of our training, the training part of our website. So that's just midwestrenew.org. And so if you're interested in training, that's the place to go. And you can learn about all the options there. Next slide, please. We offer 20 courses, give or take, on topics from solar PV, wind, and general renewable energy. The thing that sets the MREA apart is that we have all of our training programs aligned with the North American Board of Certified Energy Practitioners, otherwise known as NABCEP. We are also accredited through IREC, which is an important thing. Our NABCEP training starts with the PV Associate program, and the PV Associates is kind of the entry-level credential for people who are starting in the solar industry, or even people who are working in the solar industry who want to have a credential. And you can read all about the NABCEP credential, the associate credential, as well as their advanced certifications at their website, which is nabcep.org. And we also provide kind of a framework plan for this at our website. Next slide, please. So what is the NABCEP Associate Credential? Basically, it's a credential that provides a person with the basics of solar PV. So essentially, once a person has completed the NABCEP credential, they are qualified to design, sell, install, or maintain a solar system in a supervised capacity. So what that means is it's the basic knowledge to work in the solar industry. And what it takes to get to the NABCEP Associate Credential are 3 courses, PV 101, 201, and 202, and you can see them over there on the left. So that's basic photovoltaics, which is just how a solar system works, site assessment, and design. Once those 3 courses are complete, you're eligible to take the exam, and then you would be issued the PV Associate Credential. And people say, why should I do this? You know, it's kind of, you know, I tell people the good housekeeping seal of approval. What this does is it tells your prospective employer, hey, I have all of the basic knowledge to start my career in the solar industry. Next slide, please. And so once all of that is thought about, you know, in terms of training and getting a credential, our team has built a really awesome website. It's called solarenergy.jobs. And this website is essentially a warehouse of all the information about our training, information about how to get a credential or advanced certifications through NABCEP. And it also has information about jobs. And so essentially we have an interactive job board where employers who are seeking workers post there. Our internship program is housed there. And if you look at the right side of this slide, I brought this along because I think it's really timely. So we have a contractor partner called Arch Electric, and Arch Electric is looking for workers in Illinois. So they're a Wisconsin company that's doing some work in the Northern Illinois region. And this is their most recent job posting. So they're looking for entry-level workers to come and work on 2 projects in Northern Illinois. And if you go to the job board at solarenergy.jobs, you'll see this job listing. You simply click on the button that says apply for job, and it'll take you right to the place where you can do that. Next slide, please.
Alan, Dana had
Oh,
asked
I
a
think-
question about NABCEP exam fees. Are they included
Yep.
in your programs, or how does that work?
Nope. So basically the training, in order to receive the training, there are 3 options. So there's an online option. There's the Solar Training Academy, which is, that's a consecutive short-term way to get that training. So for example, we have run solar training academies at technical colleges, community colleges. We've done them at solar contractors. And, that's kind of a 1 weekend a month for 3 months, and then you take the exam at the end. So the pricing for the training depends on how it's delivered. And then NABCEP is actually who prices the exam, and the exam is $150. And so you register for the exam through us, and we administer the exam, but that money goes directly to NABCEP. That's their fee. So because we are a registered training provider for NABCEP, that means that we have the right to administer the exam, but the fee goes back to them.
Very good. And just to be clear,
great.
the employment opportunities you have with Arch Electric, while they are not an Illinois-based company, they do have projects that will be under construction in the Chicagoland area, correct?
Correct. Yep. And all of the jobs that are listed on solarenergy.jobs are not necessarily in Wisconsin. We have jobs, we allow anybody who is looking for somebody to work in the renewable energy industry, it doesn't even have to be solar, who applies to be on our job board. We allow them to list the job there. So we have had jobs in Indiana and Michigan and Illinois. It isn't based in Wisconsin. It just so happens in this case that Arch Electric is a Wisconsin company looking for workers in Illinois. But our resource center, solarenergy.jobs, was built to serve the entire Midwest region. And so any of the solar companies that are on this call today are more than welcome. And we encourage you to list your jobs on our job board. And it's free, by the way, so that doesn't hurt. Anyway, what I was going to say is this is my name, my title, and my email address. And so if anybody has questions about anything I've talked about, particularly about the training, our internship program, or the job board, please contact me. I'm always happy to talk to anybody about what we're doing at the MREA. And thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for that
Thank you so much,
presentation.
Ellen.
Yeah, you got it.
And with that, we will go ahead and move to our next employer, and that will be Elevate. Shalandra Brooks, are you available to present?
I am available to present, Daniel. Thank you.
Absolutely, you can begin whenever you're ready.
Awesome. Thank you, Ellen, for such a great presentation. Again, I am Shalandra Brooks. I am the program manager for the workforce and development team with Elevate, and I'm going to do a couple of things, talk to you guys about some of the things that we do with internally, as well as some employment opportunities that are available. So here's my slide, building a bridge to clean energy economy. So our mission is we design and implement programs that reduce costs, protect people, the environment, and ensure benefits of clean and efficient energy use reach through those who need it most. So We are definitely boots to the ground, working in targeted communities in the Chicagoland area, ensuring that individuals in under-resourced communities have access to supports, training, and employment opportunities. Next slide, please. What we do, one, we have a solar training program as well as a contractor development pathway, and then we have internal employment opportunities. So how we do what we do is we prepare individuals for dynamic careers and businesses for growth. So that would include working with those solar trainees to ensure that they have access to training that leads to industry recognized credentials. So as Ellen was saying in her presentation, we do have the NAPSAT certifications, and we do work with community training partners to actually deliver the solar training program. We are also in the process of always thinking about what are the career pathways that are available to students in the solar industry as well. And as well as those who are looking to become entrepreneurs and want to have their own business and deliver solar services within their community and outside of their community. We support those diverse contractors and entrepreneurs and small business owners. So a lot of those individuals who go through the solar training, a nice pathway is if they do want to own their own business, what does that actually look like? So helping businesses that are less than, that are older than, no less, I should say, than 2 years in age, actually kind of set up their programs, and then thinking about what does the next iteration of that look like for those contractors as well as they start to build out their bottom line. We provide the access to clean energy economy for communities that have been traditionally left out. So that would include high targeted communities, west side and south sides of Chicago. Next slide, Daniel. So just a quick overview of our services, community-based workforce and small business development. Again, that lines back to our solar training as well as our contractor development services. Equity-focused program design and development. So we're intentional about how we are actually laying out programs that will help individuals in those underserved community access those programs. Community engagement and asset development. Again, boots to the ground, working with institutions of higher education, such as City Colleges of Chicago and other universities to ensure that we are actually meeting the needs of the community and that we're actually applying our learnings to kind of further support some of the work that that is being built out around the solar, in the solar industry or solar space. Thought leadership, we're always, we currently serve as an advisor to this program. So we're always looking for different ways to actually implement this work and what does it actually look like on the ground. So thinking about how we have those programs laid out and then how we're informing policy around some of this work as well. And then our workforce program delivery. And again, that goes back to our solar training and how we're actually working with workforce development agencies within communities to actually deliver these services and expand our reach. And then again, talking about how this all aligns back to our policy and how we're actually educating and just really informing in this space. Next slide, please. So the first one is our solar jobs training program. So the students receive the following services, 40 hours of that classroom training. This was definitely, there was a shift and a pivot during COVID to kind of provide something that was more hybrid, thinking and leaning towards the asynchronous and synchronous learning, where students were able to kind of jump in, but jump back out and do some of that self-exploration. And then in the end, we also did some hands-on activities as well. So here's a few pictures of our students, individuals on the roof doing a little bit of work. And then we also kind of prep for that NAPSAT certification. So just thinking about all of how we're working with communities and how we're just implementing those wraparound services and those supports and resources that are needed for individuals to not only just get into the training program, but how they actually sustain while they're there. So just and sustain as in completing the program and then moving into those solar careers. Next slide, please. The Contractor Accelerator program, again, that kind of aligns back to some of that business development for individuals who are interested in having their own business or do have a business that's no less than 2 years in age. It supports minority, women, and disadvantaged veteran-owned contractor businesses, and we prepare them for growth in the energy efficiency space and the solar region in Chicago. Again, a lot of this work kind of starts with like, what does your back office look like? You know, how are we helping contractors to kind of prepare for projects, and you know how we're actually looking at the space as in terms of hubs and contractors working together to kind of ensure that maybe there's a project that they can share together and move things forward. So we also do a lot of work around qualifying job training programs for Illinois Solar for All, and that is something that we definitely share with contractors in this space as well. Next slide, please. Something that we've been working on within the last year, and we've been really intentional about how we're working with IGEN related to some of this work, is Job Club, and thinking about how we're engaging students in the beginning of solar training, in the middle, and towards the end, and then after. So just that retention piece of it. So the purpose of the Job Club is to, again, to kind of engage participants, guest speakers, and employers. What are the trends? What is happening? Individuals to come back and share their stories about how successful they have been and how they're accessing solar careers. I want to just kind of point out that we've kind of like started some of these conversations again with IGEN, but just really thinking about how this work actually goes into what our students are experiencing, because a lot of them are from underserved communities and they just need a different set of resources to help sustain. So there's going to be more information related to Job Club that we'll be sharing out as well. Next slide. The good stuff, employment opportunities with Elevate. So for those who are interested in employment opportunities with Elevate, please feel free to visit our website. And also, I just want to highlight a few positions that we do have available, and there may be a couple more to be added within a couple of weeks. So the construction analyst position, the associate contractor referral position, research analyst, senior program manager of national strategic engagement, vendor management for Illinois Solar for All, project manager for water programs, senior accountant, construction analyst for environmental health, and associate of marketing. I just want to make sure that I'm highlighting that individuals that go through our solar training, they do get hired by Elevate, and we do have a recent success story of an individual who was hired out of training, and they are now currently working on our communications and outreach team. So please feel free to visit our website to just learn a little bit more about what those positions entail. Next slide. While I'm Shalandra Brooks and I am the program manager, just please feel free to reach out to Janine Adi regarding any of these programs. I will drop my contact information in the chat. And if you have any questions, just again, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for your time, and I'll kick it back to Dana. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sherlandra. I'm so glad you could present.
Shalandra, I do have a quick question for you. And while we are hosting through Lewis and Clark, Godfrey, Illinois, and very clearly Elevate is a Chicago-based company, is your outreach throughout the state of Illinois? If somebody's in Godfrey and wants to reach out to you, is that a good thing?
That is a good thing. I want to just highlight that while we are based in Chicago, we do have offices in Oregon, Michigan, Kansas City, and Wisconsin where we're doing this work. So I should just say not necessarily offices, but those are some of our markets. So definitely we are now virtual. We're still working virtually, remotely, I should say. And some, with some individuals choosing to go in the office, but we are connected virtually to those different markets. So if someone is interested in Godfrey, Illinois, I would just highly encourage them to still reach out because our work kind of spans across Illinois.
Perfect. Thank you for all you do.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Shalandra, of course, for that presentation. And again, as Shalandra stated, if you do have any questions for her, it sounds like she's going to drop her contact info into the chat, or you can reach out to Janine at the information that you see provided up on the screen. Thank you so much, Shalandra. Our next presenter will be the New Growth Group. Patrick, are you available to present?
Sure am.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready.
All right, great. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Patrick Britton, and I'm a project manager For New Growth Group, we are a workforce development consultancy focused on different areas around, focused with working with clients from community colleges to foundations, government agencies, you can see on the slide. We are located in Cleveland, Ohio, but we have projects all across the country. And again, you can see on the slide the states that we work with. We are working with IGEN to promote solar workforce in Illinois and appreciate the opportunity to be here today and to talk with everyone. But that's enough about us. Let's get to some of the good stuff. So if you can go to the next slide, yeah, perfect. So what you can see here is solar jobs by state from 2015 onward. What we know is that solar has continued to grow over the last few years, and it's certainly expected to continue to grow ever larger as time passes. The workforce for solar will also continue to grow, and the needs will not. There will be a lot more need, certainly, as time passes. We saw recently the Biden administration in their proposed Build Back Better bill or budget reconciliation bill or whatever they're calling it, along with the infrastructure bill, there's a lot of money there for solar, for installations. There's a lot of money for electrification. Pretty much you name it. There's right now in markup in committees, there's a lot of funding for it. And what we're seeing, there's even a tax credit for electric bikes. So if you were to buy an electric bike, there is a tax credit proposed right now for that. So we don't know what's going to stay in the bill. We certainly wouldn't know what's going to stay or go. But what we can see is that renewable power, electrification, and certainly solar is here to stay. It's going to get bigger. It's going to get larger. We're going to see a lot more of it. And you can see that sort of reflected in this. On this slide, you'll see all across the United States, different levels of investment in solar and different places where they are. So you can see certainly California, Texas, Florida, New York. They have some of the most numbers of jobs, the highest number of jobs for different solar energy projects. And if you look at Illinois, you'll see it's pretty squarely in the middle. What if you were able to click on it, which you obviously can't since it's a slide, but since 2015, there have been about 5,300 solar jobs in Illinois, which would rank number 13 nationwide. So we're seeing, there is interest, and there are jobs, and people are looking for it. So if you would go to the next slide, here you can see the solar companies in Illinois. This is from a different source, the Solar Energy Industries Association. And as we heard, Elevate certainly being a Chicago company, you can see there are a lot of companies in Chicago, in the Chicagoland area, that are focused on solar, whether they're installers, manufacturers, or others. In the middle picture, you can see across the state, there are folks here. And then on the right, you can see in sort of the St. Louis area, a number of companies as well. Basically, I would expect this map to start changing, especially as the infrastructure and federal government has a renewed focus on renewables. A lot of the blue companies on these lists are financial institutions who are just waiting to pour money into solar if they can find places to do it and if it becomes useful for them. So I would certainly expect this to expand quite a lot. So if you would go to the next slide for me. So we say that jobs have grown since 2015, and here you can see some of the direct evidence. This is the number of jobs posted in Illinois with the keyword of solar since September of 2016. You can sort of see the graph as it goes up and down. Certainly the pandemic, the part in yellow on the far side of the graph, has influenced the last bit of time, but the trend is just undeniably upward. We're seeing, and I would say even this graph is in a climate where the federal government was sort of actively hostile to solar and renewable power, and not as, certainly not promoting it in the same way that we expect the future to do. And while there aren't numbers that are easy to see on this graph, I would simply point out that from 2016 in September, the number was about 200 solar postings, and in September of 2020, it was about 800. So we're seeing pretty great growth even as these industries continue to take off. you go to the next slide, please? Looking even more granular, getting more specific, here we have employment jobs and projections, which of course projections are guesses as to where we think the future will go. And certainly this is not true in every case, but in most cases, projections are simply straight line numbers based on the last couple of years. So you can see that is true here as well. But what we see is that in 2016, in Illinois, solar photovoltaic installers, there were 210 jobs in that. And then in 2020, it was 302. We expect that number to grow by quite a bit and to add each year. Now, again, this is a projection. This doesn't take into account any possible federal or even potentially state expansions or initiatives or larger trends. So these are all, when we make these projections, you just look in the past and you go forward. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. So basically what I want you to take away here is that, pardon the joke, I have a 5 and an 8-year-old and they don't let me make corny jokes anymore, so I have to do them professionally. So solar's future is bright. As you can see, this chart basically shows you a timeline of about 14 years and the growth of just solar installations nationwide. It's grown a lot and we expect it to grow even more. And I've mentioned the federal bills quite a bit because I think that's a huge signal that there will be growth. If it doesn't happen, it will just happen naturally. I'll tell you individually, personally, my story is that last fall, my wife and I sold our house and moved to Cleveland itself into a house that was less expensive than ours because we wanted explicitly to put solar panels on our house. And that was one of the top 3 factors we were looking at when looking at houses was what kind of solar could we do? We're moving that way. And in our neighborhood, as the technicians have been visiting and doing site visits and all that, I think probably 24 neighbors have come by and asked for referrals to this solar company because they would like to do it. And we happen to live in a neighborhood where there's great tree cover, but it's not over the places where we would put panels. And so I expect, we're keen to be individual ambassadors for this, but every expectation that we have, certainly as a consulting firm and certainly individually, is that solar has a bright future. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Patrick. Much
Daniel,
appreciated.
Daniel, before we go on, I would like to piggyback onto that. While New Growth Group looks at, and this is really for the participants, the graduates, the career path people, while New Growth Group is looking at it from, is solar growing? And the answer, clearly is yes. If you dive into Illinois legislation, what was just signed by the governor, absolutely yes. So this is a prime time, especially in the state of Illinois, to be involved and look at solar career pathways. And that's really just a summary I want to bring out of that. You're in a great place at a great time. Thank you, Patrick.
Okay, I think it's my turn, right?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
So our next employer, I just want to go ahead and give you a brief introduction. Will be Straight Up Solar. We do have Heidi on the line, I do believe, to present. So Heidi, you can begin whenever you are ready.
Thanks, Daniel, and thanks to everyone for having us here. I feel like a very huge privilege to be part of this group and to be able to share our story a little bit. But my presentation is going to be just a little bit different. When I was asked to do this, I really wanted to focus on the job seeker. So it's going to feel like you're a job seeker looking for who's Straight Up Solar and what they're hiring and what they're looking for. And I can talk a little bit more about this at the breakout session. My name is Heidi Shane. I'm the Director of Employee Experience at Straight Up Solar. I've been here 5 years, and I was also the founding executive director for the Missouri Solar Energy Industries Association. So I've been in the industry for a little over a decade and have a real passion for solar and the environment. Straight Up Solar is got a lot of great attributes, and I'll talk a little bit more about that at the tail end. But right now, I just wanted to shout out that we were picked as the top place to work in 2020, That was the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Our territory, so to speak, is 300-mile radius from St. Louis. So we have a headquarters in St. Louis, and we have an office in Bloomington, and we work all throughout Illinois and Missouri. You can go ahead into the next slide, Daniel. Just, we won again. So that's, we're really proud of this. It's not easy to do. And this is a third-party vetted service that our employees answer questionnaires, and we have no influence over this. So we're really proud of getting it for 2 years in a row. So from an employee, from a job seeker standpoint, I think you want to look at the culture of a business. You want to really see not only what the job title is and the job expectation is, but Straight Up Solar is very much into the culture piece. And I can go into that a little bit more later. Next slide, please. Okay, we've already hit this point with other presenters, and Bill reinforced this as well. Solar is a great place to be. It's a growing field, and it'll continue to grow, and it's much needed because we're in a climate emergency. So I'm really excited to be part of that myself. Next slide. Okay, so what kind of positions or pathways here at Straight Up Solar? As you can imagine, installer, we have a lot of installer positions. I can say that on any given day, if you're qualified for any of these positions, a job seeker that is qualified or is interested, has a really good reason that they want to be in that position and has the skills to back it up, should apply. They should take initiative and just ask if those positions are available, even if they're not on the website. So you can take a look at this. I'm not going to read them, but as you can imagine, we have a lot of installers, and electricians are always in high demand, and electrical apprentices as well. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so what do we look for? We really are passionate about solar. So we want someone that has it in their mind, at least thought about why they want to be doing this. And that's really important to be able to articulate that to us during an interview. If you have construction experience, that's good, but it can also be like volunteer experience. So, or helping an uncle with a roofing business over the summer. So these are skills-based interviews that we do. And you can draw from your life experiences as well for this, for these qualifications. But it's really good to know what we expect, which is having some construction experience, ability to get to the job. I mean, can you get to the job every day? Can our insurance cover you? For installation professionals, anyone who travels, and that could be a salesperson as well. Our insurance, if they can't include you on the policy, that's a problem. So they have to understand that as a job seeker, your personal driving habits might impact your ability to be hired. It doesn't mean it's something that we can't talk about, but just understand that. We have jobs all over Illinois. So they're 2, 3, 4-day jobs or a couple weeks, but we get people home on the weekends. But traveling is a requirement of the job. The person needs to be able to be outside, right? For installation professionals. It's hot, it's cold, it's beautiful. They work on the ground, but they work on, up at heights. So they just have to be able to do that. I have a cool story of Rakai Robertson, who's one of our only female installers right now. Yeah, the other one's an electrical apprentice. She was afraid of the heights, but really got over it after she got her roof legs, I guess you would call it. And then just the physical ability, it's being an installer, specifically, I'm talking about this position, is a physically demanding job. You're climbing ladders, you're lifting heavy panels that are approximately 75 pounds. There's a lot going on. You're kneeling, you're bending. And we want people to take care of themselves and be safe. Next slide. Okay, so what does the application process look like? This is just tips for job seekers, right? I see a lot of resumes, and so this is just, direct feedback. So make sure your resume is updated and that you list those transferable skills and proofread. Just want to make sure you have all those typos eliminated. If there's assessments, we do post on Indeed, and we assign assessments, and it really matters if you do them. We notice when you don't do them, and create if a follow-up email, if a cover letter is required and it says send your cover letter to jobs at, don't miss that step. It's important. That's why we put it there. And we're looking for people to explain their why in the cover letter, like why they want this job. So virtual, everything's virtual, right? So make sure you're on time, test out the technology in advance. You all have a story why you're seeking employment. Practice it on your family and friends, you know, your dog, whoever will listen, and just like tell your why and make sure you have that figured out and you can tell that story. And it's okay to have questions ready. In fact, you might, you definitely want to have questions. Think about not just like Google questions that you ask in an interview, but figure out what's important to you and ask those questions. And it's okay to be nervous. Like right now, I'm a little nervous, but I'm getting over it. But just, it's okay to say, hey, I'm just tongue-tied a little bit, but what I'm trying to say is X or Y, or I forgot to mention this. It's okay, just be yourself. I think it's important just to relax and try to present yourself in the best light you can while being honest. Okay, next screen. Okay, so good to know. You can tell I do a lot of resumes and a lot of hiring, so I'm trying to get this across. So we notice when people are on it, you know, when they're communicating well, when they're checking their emails regularly, when they're texting us back. And it shows that they're authentically interested in the position. And we want that passion. We want people to have passion for clean energy. We can cultivate some passion, but we need to see that spark. So possible testing, depending on the position, there's background checks. We do not do credit checks. That's not best practices anymore. And drug tests on prevailing wage is going to be something that is definitely possible in that world. And then before anybody starts working for us, we partner with Athletico, and we have Fit for Duty exams. So we have a company that basically tests every incoming physically demanding job that we have and makes sure that they can do that job. They have the job description, and I encourage all employers on this call to connect with me if you want to know more about a Fit for Duty program, because it's very important. It has a lot of consequence that I won't go into right now. Okay, next slide. All right, here's our commercial. I told you it was coming, but I didn't want to start here. Okay, so I am very proud to work at Straight Up Solar, and I hope you get that vibe from me. It was founded in 2006. As I said, we serve Illinois and Missouri. We have 1,700, feels like 1,000, but 1,700 installations. And that's definitely plus, because we take care of a lot of installations with operations and maintenance. Our service team, we have a full service team. We have close to 90 people now. That size, a little bit old. And 46% have NABCEP certification, including myself. And I can't encourage you enough to take that seriously. MREA rocks. And if you haven't gone to their energy fair in Wisconsin, you gotta go. Okay, that's my MREA commercial. And obviously we're big fans of MREA but we have won 13 Group I programs. We're a certified B Corporation. What is B Corp? That's definitely something you can Google. It's very important to us. It means planet, people, and profit are important. I told you the culture piece here is we are authentically interested in doing the right thing for people, planet, and making a profit at the same time. We are an Amicus Solar Cooperative member. That's an invite-only collective throughout the nation. We share best practices, and it is invaluable. I can't tell you how wonderful that is. We also belong to the JEDI group, which is Justice, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion. We take that inclusion and those important topics very seriously and actually do training on them with our staff. We are REC Premium Installer. That feels like something I don't know much about, but it's important. And then we have a 10-year workmanship and production warranty, which means that when we tell people what we're going to do, we better do it because we're in a relationship with them for the next 25 years, or at least 10 years, but solar systems are around for a lot longer than that. So we take it really seriously, that relationship we have with our customers. Okay, and our staff as well. It feels more like a work family to me. I won't click into reinventing power, but I suggest you look that up on YouTube. It's a cool video. Okay. I really haven't memorized the slides. I probably have another one. Go ahead, Daniel. Oh, here we go. Our benefits. Okay, real quick. You can read. I won't go through all of this. The big stuff is that we do volunteer work together. We have things like 8 hours of volunteer PTO that we give out a year. We have great benefits and amazing. Oh, we have profit sharing and obviously per diem and whatnot. I'm not going to go into this, but just know that every year we look at our benefits package and try to offer something new. It's getting really hard. But last year we offered another PTO day. But we try to get creative and we try to support everyone equally. For example, our profit sharing, everyone gets the same amount. Doesn't matter how long you've been here. If we share profit, we share it equally. And we're looking to be employee owned someday. That's huge because everyone feels very much like an employee owner right now already because we're in training. All right, next slide. Okay, how to apply, important stuff. Okay, Indeed has a lot of information, and yes, our careers page on our website. We try to keep that equally updated, but I'd say Indeed has the assessments, so that's important to know. And then jobs at straightupsolar.com. That's the place to send your resume and your cover letter. Don't forget your why. It's important. My contact information is Heidi@straightupsolar.com. I really hope you've enjoyed me talking super fast, but I wanted to get through all this content. But I am really excited about being a partner in this and the employee partner and advisory partner. Super important that we get the workforce that we need and want because that's where we're headed and that's where we need to be. Thank you so much for your time.
Hey, Heidi, this is Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, I just want thank you. And I just had a quick question with the new legislation. Are you trending towards maybe hiring more sales or more installers at this point in time?
Okay, so the way it goes, it's seasonal for us. So normally our sales cohort starts in like we start identifying candidates at the end of the year and the beginning of the year, like December, January. It's always good to apply whenever, right? But typically we put a new class together. It's almost like, you know, the freshman class, probably late winter. There's a lot of training that goes along with sales. And for installation, you know, it's always a good day to apply to be an installer straight up solar. I'd say that a lot of our hiring though goes, you know, February through August, right? Not that September's not a great time. You know, there's people go places and there's turnover. There's always going to be turnover. People say, oh, I decided to move to Alaska or something. And you're like, well, you know, there's an Alaskan amicus partner that they can go to. So that's not a sad story. But people move, you know, life changes. So it's never a wrong time to apply to be an installer because we have so many installers. We have 5 organic crews and they consist of electrician, electrical apprentice, 3 or 4 array installer workers. So we have big teams. We have a big operation. So I say, thanks for the question. Sales is the one I think that would be more focused on late winter, early spring for hiring. Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Thank you. Because our class is going late fall into early winter. So.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that very wonderful and informative presentation, Heidi. I just want to reiterate for any of the folks that are on the call, we will be having a breakout room session, which with some of these folks after all employers have presented. So if you do have any additional questions for Heidi or of course any of the presenters that we have today, please feel free to stick around. You'll be able to join those rooms and of course get any additional questions that you do have answered. Excuse me. Our next employer will be Midwest Solar Solutions. Corey, are you available to present?
I am.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready, sir.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me. We didn't take too much time putting this together, to be honest. It's just a real brief presentation because just like a future candidate for employment would be reaching feelers out, we're doing the same. We don't necessarily have a set position hired.
And looks like we lost Corey here momentarily. My assumption will be that he will rejoin. So we'll go ahead and give him a minute. And if we have any issues with him rejoining, we'll go ahead and move to our next employer. Yep, there he is in the waiting room. Hi, Corey. Looks like we lost you for a minute there.
Can you hear me?
I can. You can continue.
Sorry about that. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, no worries.
Anyhow, we're kind of just reaching out with some feelers as well to see who we might be able to find that could bring some additional value to our team. Kind of unlike straight up solar, we're a small knit team, very small operation. But with the recent update, Illinois legislation, we're trying to be prepared for a lot more work, and we're already having a tough time keeping up with our current demand. So. Again, it's just a real brief presentation, but we do have opportunities. But as far as a specific listing, not so much, just kind of researching and trying to find good people right now. So we're a small, locally owned company, culture conscious, a full one-stop shop for all solar needs. So right there, you got Joe and Jim. Joe's our president there in the man lift. We're getting ready to do solar install on a metal roof there. I'm on the ladder hanging on for dear life. We all got our harnesses on, but that's the core group right there. We have a couple other guys behind the scenes doing commercial sales and things like that, but that's pretty much the team right there. So the candidates we're in search for will all be open-minded and willing to adapt in all situations, passionate to make a positive impact and eager to learn, a willingness to communicate with all of us and professionally and transparently with all of our customers. And also, this is an exciting career in a growing industry, as you know, other employers have said previously. So we're just in search of somebody that's eager to get after it and wants to learn. Like I said, we're hiring people, not necessarily positions. Some benefits that we'd offer to any candidate would be on-job training, paid time off, medical leave, life insurance, medical insurance, and employee discounts. I'm actually in the process of getting the system proposed on my residence, and Jim and Joe have the same solar systems that we install on other people's houses on their own house. So practicing what we preach is important to us. Can you go? Yeah. So that's our website. That's another metal roof install we did. That is a valid email address that any candidates could send their resume to. And we're pretty active on Facebook and Instagram as well. We're trying to get better at posting more content. That's something that I got to kind of pick it up on. But yeah, I appreciate you guys having us under here. We can't keep up with the current work demand right now, and with legislation passing these incentives in the state of Illinois, we really got to get geared up to be prepared for the new year.
Well, thank you so much for that presentation, Corey. And I do believe Corey's one of the folks that'll be sticking around for those breakout room sessions. So if you do have any questions for him regarding any of the information or positions that they have available, please feel free to stick around. And of course, you'll be able to speak with him directly.
Absolutely.
If I may, I do have one quick question for Corey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Bill.
Thank you. Corey, as many of the people we've heard from today, Wisconsin, Chicagoland, other states, do you have a region that you work specifically in that candidates would say that I don't want to move to Chicago, I don't want to drive, I don't want to do this? What do you guys do?
So straight up solar, I think she mentioned like a 300-mile radius. Like I would say ours is closer to about 90 miles, and I would say south of Springfield. But we're located out of Granite right now, and we're actually currently looking for a commercial spot to lease. Where that might be is hard to tell, but Edwardsville, Illinois, O'Fallon. I actually went to Lewis and Clark 7 years ago to college algebra when I was finishing up my degree. So Godfrey, all that neck of the woods is primarily where we're operating out of.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent. Our next employer, or our next presenter, excuse me, will be EFS Energy. I do believe we have Paul McKnight on the line. Paul, are you available to present, sir?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent. I did not receive a presentation, so I just have the slide up on the screen with your website and contact info. So
Okay, that's fine. I had a little something prepared, but it's not much more than this. Basically, it just listed off the positions that we're looking for. EFS Energy is based out of St. Louis, but primarily working in Illinois for obvious reasons. And we've been here for 10 years, a little over 10 years. We've got a growing team. At this point, we are at 20 employees. We have a sales staff. We have install team. We have a couple of engineers and other office staff. And so we do the sales, design, engineering, and construction all in-house when possible. On larger projects, we do subcontract. So positions that we're looking for right now are installers with roofing experience, preferably, solar electricians, and that's both entry-level and more experienced electricians that we're looking for, and project managers. So those are kind of the three positions that we're looking for. With the growing opportunities in Illinois, this is, we're just gearing up to be able to meet some of that demand. So we're growing our install teams, and we offer very competitive benefits. We have full benefits, all of that. So that's what I'm looking for. Sorry, I didn't have really more prepared, but we do residential, we do commercial work, and we're doing some projects out of state. Travel is not necessarily required for our installers because most of our work is local in the Illinois and Missouri region. But if you like to travel, we do have opportunities for that as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Paul. And I do believe, Paul, will you be sticking around for the breakout rooms for folks that might have questions?
I will.
Excellent. Okay. Our next and final employer then, before we go into those breakout room portion of the event that we do have scheduled here, is Simple Ray Solar. I do have Lewis Butler on the line. Lewis, are you available to present, sir?
Oh, I'm definitely available.
Excellent. You can begin whenever you're ready.
Okay. Thanks so much for having us. I will try to keep this a little short, as we're getting a little long on time and intention, I'm sure here. My name is Lewis Butler. I'm the director of sales at Simple Array. We are an engineering, procurement, construction firm focused largely on commercial, industrial, agricultural, and small scale utility projects. So we're a little different than some of the other presenters that have a little bit more focus on residential. I personally serve on the Illinois Solar Energy Association board and serve as board president for the trade organization in Iowa. We operate in Iowa, Illinois. We have a few systems in Missouri, and we're starting to install some projects on Wisconsin this week. The image you see up on the screen is one of my favorite projects for a pet treat manufacturing facility in northern Illinois. We actually sourced some custom modules for this to do that dog bone and paw print design. So pretty proud of that. And I think it speaks to our ethos and how we think about work. We want to have fun while we're working, and we want to do right by our customers. And when those two things can come together, man, it's a lot of fun to see projects like that come together. So if you want to go to the next slide here. So as I said, we started in 2008. We have about 35 employees. We have over 20 megawatts of projects installed in the Midwest, which is a lot of modules. The Pedigree project that you just saw, won CNI Project of the Year for Solar Power Magazine, or Solar Builder Magazine last year, and we're consistently on the top solar contractors for Solar Power World. I really like this picture. This was what at our annual summer solstice party, every year we bring the whole team together. We get the field guys together, we get the sales team together, we get the operations team together, and we do all sorts of fun and goofy stuff. And I think to me, that's what somebody asked me today in an interview, what do I enjoy about working at Simple Ray? It's definitely the team. If you can't tell, we're standing real close there, having a good time. So if you move on to the next slide here. So, like everyone else, competitive pay, a good stable job, career growth. I did want to touch on that briefly. We've had people who've started, they started on the phones for us doing cold calling, and now they figured out they'd rather be in operations. So had a guy start off hourly, now he's a project assistant. We've had guys who start in the office to go to the field and vice versa. So even if you're not sure about what you want to be doing right now today, if you like the industry, find a company of people that you think you'll match up well with, whether it's us or someone else, always kind of be willing to learn, I think is an important value on our team. And it really helps bring the team together. So not so much about the company, but we got the company president and the dunk tank there. We have Shu Ting, who's in charge of our financing, doing the high strike. And then we had some life-size beer pong going on with the garbage cans and volleyball there. So if you're looking for somewhere that's a fun time to work, I would highly encourage you check us out. I'll go over a few of the positions. I'm not going to say we play hard and we work hard. We definitely work hard, and then we also enjoy ourselves as well. It's a good group of professional folks to be around. So if you don't go to the next couple of slides here. So we're currently hiring installers. The previous question about installing or sales. At least on the commercial side, there's about 50 megawatts of projects that are on the wait list that are getting funded now, in addition to future sales. That's just on the commercial side. So I think there's going to be a high demand for installers here, especially towards the end of the year and well into all of next year. There's no way all that solar is going to go into the ground. It's going to take a couple of years to do that. And talking to our guy who's out in the field, not only do we need installers starting at that entry level, we're looking for people to train up. We have a post pounding machine, we have boring machines, we have trenching machines. If I'm not careful when I go out on site visits, I'm going to end up getting to run all the machinery, which I don't think anyone would look forward to from a liability standpoint, but it'd be a lot of fun. So plenty of paths there. If you're eager and willing to learn and you want to run big machinery, there's definitely a chance to do that. We can go to the next slide. We also need field service techs. As I think someone from Straight Up mentioned, there's thousands of systems out there in the field right now. We are constantly chasing down inverter issues, not only from our own installs, maybe inverter needs to be swapped out, but other companies who may not have made it or been successful, or the customer is looking for someone else to service them now. There's a lot of O&M work out there as well. So I think this is a great, great spot to get in if you want to shy away from a little bit less of the hands-on, but you want a lot of job stability for a long, long time. All these systems are going to need service or someone checking in on them for a while. So I think that service tech position is a sleeper. And then we'll go to the next one, which is the one that's near and dear to my heart. We're also hiring consultants in Illinois and elsewhere. For this, we're looking for people with a little bit more experience who also feel comfortable talking about financials and feel comfortable in a boardroom. So if that's you, definitely want to have a conversation. So with that, I think we're on to our last slide. simpleray.com/careers. Feel free to reach out to me in the breakout room, get connected with me on LinkedIn. If you just have questions about the industry, want someone to be a sounding board, you don't even want to apply to work at Simple Ray, happy to take the call and talk through it with anybody. The industry is both big and small at the same time. I'm familiar with all the companies or half the people on this call. And, when we start these in-person events up again, you start to see a lot of familiar faces. So I think it's a great industry to be in, and I certainly appreciate everyone's time.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that presentation, Lewis. And with the conclusion of Lewis's presentation, we have now reached the conclusion of all of our presenter presentations, if you will. So without further ado, I think what we'll go ahead and do here is delve into kind of the setup or what to expect as far as the breakout room sessions are concerned. For those presenters that are on the line that will not be able to participate in the event, you are more than welcome to leave the session now if need be. If you want to drop contact information into the chat for the job seekers and other folks we have on the line, you're more than welcome to if you haven't yet already. But again, just want to let you know if you do need to leave at this time, you are more than welcome to do so. In the breakout room sessions here, it looks like we will have 5 organizations. So that'll be MREA, Straight Up Solar, Midwest Solar Solutions, EFS Energy, and then Simple Ray Solar will be in those rooms. To give you all an idea as to what the setup will be, I will leave these rooms open for approximately 30 minutes or so. You are more than welcome to move freely from room to room and speak and meet with any of the folks that presented here today. You'll see here up on the screen, if you're having issues moving freely from room to room, it might be because you don't have this most recent Zoom client for meetings downloaded, software downloaded, excuse me. If you're finding that you're having issues moving from room to room, you can either leave this session and download the software and return, or we also have the option as well, if you can't join a room yourself, if you just let me know which room you want to go to, I can manually add you to a room as well. So either, drop that into the chat or unmute yourself and let me know which room you want to go to. And of course, I can send you to it. You'll see here on this screen, we just have a few screenshots here to help you navigate this process. I'm assuming, speaking with Dana and Bill, the majority of the folks that are on this call are probably joining through a desktop or laptop. So these screenshots here will be applicable. Again, you'll see if you move your cursor anywhere on the screen when I open these breakout rooms up, there should be an icon that you'll see that's similar to the one with the red square here. It'll say breakout rooms. You'll click on that. All of the available rooms that we do have available will then come up in this separate window that you see in the second screenshot here. And then you'll see up to the right-hand side here with the red circle, you'll have the option to join. You can join any room that you'd like, assuming you're able to navigate this. I will put this back up on the screen for you in the main session here. So if you do need to refer back to it, it'll be there. Just giving a brief overview here again. Obviously, each presenter will be designated a separate breakout room. We are looking at one 30-minute session. And again, you can move freely throughout all employer rooms. Of course, you'll be able to unmute yourself. You can turn on your camera if you'd like, if you have that ability. But just wanted you to be aware of that. And again, just a few ground rules here. We don't want to drive this home too much, but just be mindful of others' time. Once you've unmuted yourself, you've asked your question, you received your response, please just put yourself back on mute. Allow others to have that same opportunity if you're in the room with other folks. Again, you can share your video camera if that's applicable, but just, be courteous, be respectful, be professional. If need be, and again, I've never had to do this, but if need be, we can issue you a verbal warning. We can place you on mute. And then if you continue to be disruptive, you'll see there in point number 3, we do have the option to eject you from the session entirely if you're being unruly or inappropriate. Again, never had to do that. Don't anticipate that'll be the case, but want folks to be aware we do have that ability if need be. So I'm going to backtrack to this slide here. I do have the rooms queued up, again, set to 30 minutes. There will be a countdown timer in the upper right-hand corner letting you know how much time is left in the session. I do have a countdown timer set to 60 seconds. So what that means is once we get to the end of that 30 minutes, there will be, again, a 60-second countdown letting you know that the session will be ending. At that point, you'll automatically be redirected back to the main session that we're in now. And then we're just going to give a few concluding remarks or summary statements, and then we'll wrap up the session. Again, taking a look at our time here, it should probably last until about 11:40, 11:45 or so. So we may come in a few minutes early from our noon time slot that we stated. But again, just want folks to be aware of that. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and open up these rooms. And again, if you're having issues joining, let me know. I can manually assign you to whatever room that you'd like to go to. And those rooms are now open for the employers that have been assigned to them. You'll want to go ahead and accept that invite so you can join the room. And it looks like we have all of our employers in the room aside from Ellen. Ellen, you'll want to make sure again that you accept that invite so you can join the room. For the job seekers, you are more than welcome to join any of those rooms again. And if you're having troubles, just drop me a message in the chat with any of the employers that we do have. Let me know which room you'd like to go to, and I will send you there. I will read those off for you one more time. We have MREA, Straight Up Solar, Midwest Solar Solutions, EF Energy, or EFS Energy, excuse me, and Simple Ray Solar. And again, for the folks that are on the call, if there are any of these folks that you have questions for, would like to meet with, let me know and I'll go ahead and send you to their room. You can also unmute yourself if you're unable to use the chat for whatever reason. I could get you sent over wherever you'd like to go. Again, just want to let folks know if there are any employers that you'd like to meet with, please drop me a message in the chat, letting me know who you'd like to go to. And of course, I will send you there. Excellent. Well, it looks like we have everyone back in from the breakout rooms. So before I give any sort of concluding statements or summary remarks, of course, I want to turn things back over to Dana and or Bill to give any sort of statements that they'd like to make before I give some kind of final housekeeping words.
Bill, I'll let you take the closing part if that's okay.
That'll work. Thank you. I want to take a few minutes here and tell everybody thank you for taking your time this morning, considering the applicants that will be coming your way as participants. So that is great. Daniel, thank you for outreach with workNet. The only thing, from a personal side is, again, career paths, jobs, where you go are strictly choices you make. Nobody can tell you what to do or where to go. Find a place that makes you happy. If that means relocating, relocate. If that means going to a whole different career path, do that. But whatever it is, make yourself happy in that pursuit. And with that, thank you, everybody. I have appreciated and I have learned a lot as well. Daniel?
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Bill. And I have a few kind of housekeeping things that I just do want to mention. Of course, thank you to all the employers who joined us today, carving time out of your busy schedules, obviously, to meet with us and share all that wonderful information. Much appreciated. To the job seekers that are still on the call, or the students that are still on the call, of course, thank you all for joining today. We hope that this was fruitful for you and that, of course, it leads to future opportunities. And one final thing to note, I have recorded the session today. So if at any time you do want to come back and refresh yourself on anything that was covered here today before you decide, if this is a career path that you want to go ahead and embark on, or, any job applications, anything like that, all this information will be, again, uploaded to the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel under the Virtual Job Fair playlist. Thank you to everyone that joined us today. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great
Thank you
day.
for helping us put this together, Daniel.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.